Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. So today, we're tackling something that, let's be honest, strikes fear into the hearts of many, but is absolutely essential for the human experience. We're talking about the art of small talk. To help us wrap our heads around this beautifully complex social dance, we're going to use the metaphor of the ultimate social network, an ant colony. Right? Just like ants seamlessly interact and communicate to build something way bigger than themselves, we can learn to navigate our social world with that exact same structured grace. Okay, let's dive into this.
Ever felt trapped in an awkward silence? Yeah, we've all been there. You know the feeling. You're at a networking event, or maybe you're sharing a seemingly endless elevator ride with a coworker, and you suddenly find yourself pretending to check an imaginary text on your phone just to avoid eye contact. You can actually feel that universal dread creeping in. You want to connect, but man, the silence is deafening. Look, our relationships with others are literally the threads that weave the fabric of our lives. They bring us joy, companionship, the whole shebang. But starting those threads, kind of intimidating. Today, we're reframing small talk. It's not a painful chore. It's an incredibly conquerable challenge.
So here's our master framework. We're demystifying small talk into a totally accessible 6-step journey. Mindset, topics, ask and listen, dialogue, important, and wait. By breaking the conversation down into this structured flow, we completely remove the guesswork. You don't have to wait for some magical spark of spontaneous inspiration. You just follow the framework.
Step 1 is all about the internal work before you even utter a single word. Adopt a positive and friendly mindset. You absolutely must approach every interaction with an open mind, completely free from defensiveness. Think about it. How often do we enter conversations with our guard totally up, assuming the other person just isn't interested or stressing about what they think of us? Actually, dropping that defensiveness is the very first absolutely crucial step to genuinely connecting with another human being.
In practice, this means adopting a really enthusiastic, courteous attitude, and this sounds simple, but it's huge, remembering to smile. Why is this so important? Well, because your friendly attitude acts as a very real social signal. It sets the tone for exactly how the other person is going to respond. When you signal safety and openness, they are incredibly likely to mirror that exact same energy right back to you.
Okay, moving to step 2, take the lead with the right topics. When you're speaking with strangers, don't wait for them to figure out what to say. You initiate. Open the conversation by asking about their interests, showing respect for their knowledge, or just offering a truly sincere compliment. Basically, give them a nice, smooth runway to start talking about things they're already comfortable with.
And what exactly are people most comfortable with? Themselves. And this brilliantly illustrates the data-driven reality. A person's absolute favorite topic is usually themselves. It makes up a massive chunk of their conversational desires. That's followed by their family, work, hobbies, interests, and material possessions. So, if you're ever at a loss for words, just steer the dialogue toward these subjects. By asking questions that get them talking about these areas, you are virtually guaranteed to get them engaged.
Step 3, ask leading questions and listen attentively. So, the crucial point is this. The best way to draw someone out is to show genuine interest in them and encourage them to talk about themselves with leading questions. It's not enough to just throw a topic out there. You have to actively invite them into it. And once they start talking, your job shifts. You've got to make an active effort to listen way more than you speak. Listen attentively, and here's a pro tip. Pay attention even to what they don't say.
We maintain that focus by shifting from I-centric statements to you-centric statements. Instead of dominating the chat with, oh, I did this, and well, I think that, engage your partner with, what do you think? Or, tell me about your experience. It proves you are actually listening and keeps the spotlight exactly where it belongs, on them.
Which brings us to step 4. Turn it into a dialogue. Don't just pause for their answers, right? Small talk isn't an interrogation where you're running down a checklist of questions. You need to ask follow-up questions to keep the conversation flowing naturally back and forth. You take what they just gave you, show that you processed it, and hand it back.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it perfectly captures the core philosophy here. A good conversation is an authentic exchange, not a competition to see who can dominate or win the discussion. It is so easy to fall into the trap of just waiting for your turn to speak or, trying to top their story with a better one of your own. True conversation is about taking turns and avoiding monopolizing the dialogue. It's an appreciation of what every single person brings to the table.
Step 5 is a profound psychological insight. Make the other person feel important. We all carry deep, fundamental desires for recognition, reassurance of worth, and ego gratification. Honestly, we all just want to feel like we matter. And you can fulfill these deep-seated needs simply by focusing on the other person and sincerely acknowledging their qualities and their efforts. When you do this, you aren't just making small talk anymore. You're offering them emotional security.
But there is a really sharp line between doing this correctly and doing it poorly. We are talking about genuine praise. This means acknowledging specific things a person does rather than relying on vague flattery. Flattery often feels, well, cheap and manipulative, whereas genuine praise shows you are truly paying attention. Accept people exactly as they are, focus on their strengths, and absolutely avoid criticizing them. That is how you validate someone properly.
And finally, we reach step 6. Now, this is perhaps the most discipline-heavy step of the entire framework. Wait to be prompted before talking about yourself. You really must resist the urge to immediately bring up your own life, your own thoughts, or your own stories. You should only transition to talking about yourself and your own experiences after the other person has prompted you by asking questions. Let's move to and see how this builds across an actual interaction. At minute 1, you initiate with a you-centered topic. By minute 3, you're deep in a phase of active listening. At minute 5, those follow-up questions have turned it into an authentic dialogue. And it is only around minute 8, after you've made them feel important and really heard, that they prompt you and you finally share your own story. This is the natural rhythm of a truly engaging, balanced connection.
So, we've covered the mindset, the topics, the listening, the dialogue, the praise, and the discipline. The framework is laid out clearly before you. The only question left is, how will you approach your next interaction? Will you dread the silence, or will you step up, channel your inner highly social ant, and purposefully build a connection? Keep these steps in mind the next time you step into a crowded room. Thanks for learning with me today on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.